movies. Mutilation, decapitation, torture. Does that sound entertaining? More blood than a blood bank. Have we got your attention?
Let me turn to my page that has nothing.
Nice.
Yeah.
While my co-host here is writing down the title of the episode, because he didn't do his homework, I just want to take a quick second to thank William for watching all of these X-Files episodes and continuously coming back and commenting and being part of the discussion. We appreciate that. All right, welcome back, extraterrestrials, to the X-Files franchise breakdown. In this episode, we're doing 1988's John Carpenter's The Thing.
Basically, yeah.
This is season 1, episode 8, called Ice, and it's just basically The Thing. With a few tweaks, to the story. So the plot line is Mulder and Scully are sent to investigate when a team of geophysicists stationed at the remote Alaskan outpost is killed by a parasitic alien life form. So that's a good description of what happens in this episode. Sometimes we have to get a little bit deeper and explain more, but this one's just a monster of the week, and it's just a one-line storyline, and
I think there's a lot there's a lot like underneath the surface of this episode because of the...
You mean like John Carpenter's writing?
Oh, basically, yeah. Well, he didn't write that movie fully. I mean, it was a remake at the time.
Well,
and
okay.
The movie that came out in the 50s, that was from a book. But, no, the science in this one is really, really good.
Well, yes. They do a great job at using Scully's strong suit.
Yeah. Whereas it would have been so simple to say alien, like in The Thing, they were like, oh no, these are like microscopic worms that, that existed at one time on this Earth, but because of the cold climate here, until they can, find a host, they are dormant forever, basically. Just the science on this is neat. To create that, idea. Let's do The Thing. We've done it.
Right.
How do we change The Thing up where we can have an episode that's about isolation and irritability, but how can we work with that but create our own thing underneath?
Our own thing. But I think that's one thing that they did miss in this episode. They tried to touch on it, and it just didn't work for me, was the isolation and the paranoia of somebody. Like, you see them all go into their rooms, and you see them all, like, hunker down. Scully pushes the desk in front of the door. But they didn't spend enough time with that, to me. And granted, these episodes are only 45 minutes long. You can't just, dive into every detail.
Yeah.
But it just felt very brushed over, because that is something, especially when Mulder calls on the radio and they say, like, hey man, 3 days is the best we can do. There's a storm here. So all those things just start running through your head. I mean, we all know we've been in a pandemic. We were quarantined. You go stir crazy. You get cabin fever. And it happens pretty quick. Especially if you're not, a creative person or something with some sort of outlet. Like, you just find yourself staring at the wall. And, it takes over quickly. And that's why I just felt like that was brushed over.
Yeah. I don't
know.
The quarantine idea of this these, what is there, 6 people up there originally
There's-
with a dog.
There's the man doctor, the lady doctor. There's
Mulder Scully.
the Chargers fan, and then Dollar Store Steven
Yeah.
Tyler.
And then the dog, basically.
Yeah.
They
Well,
had to have the dog
I
because
think
that
the
was
dog
in
was there.
Was the dog?
Yeah,
Yes,
the dog was there.
Yeah.
So
Who's gonna be the one who sets it off, basically? So
Dollar Store Steven Tyler.
yeah, it's the guy from Tank Girl.
Is it?
Yeah, he plays.
I just kept
Barf
looking at him, going, "Yeah, you look like a rundown poor man, Steven Tyler."
He was like a caveman almost and stuff. If you looked at him,
Yeah.
just like, but he flew an airplane and
Yeah.
great stock footage of airplane arriving and going. But yeah, another thing that was really hard to convey in this episode was cold. Because there was no
Yeah.
real big atmosphere kind of shots, or
Well, there was no real atmosphere.
but because they were in just that building, and that building, I guess, had climate control in there.
Well, they made the man doctor, the shit stirrer. He made a comment like, "It's freezing outside and we're burning up in here,"
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, but the figuring out. This is last episode was Mulder discovery and stuff. I feel more Dana gets this discovery of like, I figured it out, kind of deal.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely gets the credit. This is like her strong suit. This is her alley.
Yeah. To save Mulder, basically, in this episode.
Yeah, and the big thing that I saw in this episode was this is the first time since the first time they met that they don't trust each other.
Mm-hmm.
They're pointing guns at each other, and even though Dana is like, "Look, you may not be you," she understands, but she still doesn't trust him.
Mm-hmm.
She still has a gun drawn on him. He has a gun drawn on her.
Yeah.
This is the first time that their trust for each other is broken.
Yeah.
It gets repaired extremely fast, but it is broken at one
45-minute episode and stuff. Remember
Yeah.
15 minutes ago when I hated you?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's an action-packed episode.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they, from the very beginning, you see the two guys kill themselves. They suicide with each other. And then, they're up there immediately, and it just starts happening all over again. So, again, that 44-minute episode, 45-minute episode works and hurts. Mm-hmm. It works to push because you got to get all that action in there. And it hurts because you have to skip over some things.
Yeah.
This is, it's just the nature of television, I guess. Not everything can, be a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
They're cramming, essentially X-Files is a 2-hour movie crammed into 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And they do a great job, and they skip over what they need to. But
would this have worked better as a 2-parter? Do you think that they could, the information that we got, okay, like the story that we got in this one episode, would it have worked better slowed down and told over 2 episodes? Or would that have just been too long?
Yeah, I think that, the whole thing is they got it all done in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So they didn't need 2 hours to do it. But if they did do it, like if it could have been a movie.
Yeah.
They could have called it something like The Thing, and they could have got Kurt Russell to play.
It would have been better if this episode, instead of Ice, was called Not the Thing.
Yeah, right, exactly. But no, they could have dove into those parts of the show or this episode more, and it would have been enjoyable. But was it necessary? No. It didn't leave me lacking, and it didn't leave me wanting more. It was just something that I noticed.
Yeah, definitely. The effects of like the worm effect that they have when it's under a skin is kind of silly, but it's cool too. So, but there's not much. I mean, because it's based on something else, but they just try to tweak it.
Yeah.
Not much. I mean, I like whereas in The Thing, the Thing never shows it's a perfect reproduction, whereas these worms make people pissy and stuff. I like that. Where it physically changes, their mood,
right.
But, but yeah, there's just there's moments that are really neat, but there's not much in this episode other than, what you got on the surface, kind of. There's a lot, underneath the surface of this episode.
To your point, this is the first time we see science solve the problem. We see science be the,
center.
Well, yeah, it's the center of the episode, and it's the first time that we see science actually handle the issue.
No.
Normally it's detective work or aliens or so it's it's something. And this is the first time that we see that be the case. We see Scully's wheelhouse figure the issue out. I did think it was funny or a little strange that they sent 3 scientists to the place.
Different kinds of science.
Right. Like the Chargers fan was like
seismologist, I think.
Right, yeah. And then you got that guy sucked so bad.
No.
He was a good actor, but he also pissed me off. The lady doctor, she was horrible. Not because she was a woman or anything like that, but that character was just what? No,
because
there was no scientific. She didn't say a single fucking thing scientific.
No. Well, I in an X-Files episode, anybody who is negative towards Mulder and Scully are automatically the bad guys.
Right.
So they're the bad guys
Yeah.
in this movie, in this TV show. So yeah, but where do you see this on the scale of the X-Files episode of really good, or just kind of like a throwaway episode?
No, I think it's a great episode.
You think it's a great episode?
Yeah. I don't think it's a throwaway at all because, again, we see Scully's wheelhouse and we see it work. Mm-hmm. We see the opposite of Mulder.
Yeah.
We see logical thinking, tests, experiments being done, and it all plays out and all works out.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that this is, like we mentioned in Ghost in the Machine, it might not be the first thing that you want to send them out to, but if you're going to get somebody to watch this show, this ain't a bad one.
No.
This is probably top tier so that the people can learn the episodes and all that and then move forward from there. That was one thing that I noticed, that they were like, all right, guys, we're going to make The Thing. But in The Thing, they're in Antarctica. We're in Alaska.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's your thing. Okay. Did you have any other big...
No.
All right.
The writing was okay, but it's not like last episode where the Ghost in the Machine kind of episode. I like that.
I think we need to break down your...
brain.
Yeah, because they were both written really... Ghost in the Machine and this one were written really well. They're back to back. They both have good science. They both have good storytelling. They both have good physical acting. I think you're just more partial to electronics than you are to parasites.
Yeah, exactly. I like getting on my iPhone more than I like being chilly or worms. No.
As I sit under the air conditioning fan.
Yeah. No, I mean, they're just, it's just a matter of opinion. Maybe, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the other people in the episode that really just kind of
That's a good possibility, but like I said, this episode, and as much as I love this episode, it does feel rushed. Mm-hmm. They skip over that whole, cabin fever thing, And then at the end, they're just basically like, how do we fix this? Put two of them together. Okay, boom, done. We're out of quarantine. We're back home. Like, it's very... And again, they're trying to fit a 2-hour movie into a 45-minute episode.
Maybe that.
So I think that just how compressed the episode is, does leave not a bad taste, but it does leave something to be desired. You want it explored more. They came to that conclusion way too fast.
Yeah, it's like a really good piece of steak, but when you have this amazing like filet mignon, and you cook it perfectly, and the person just sticks one fork in it and puts it a whole thing in their mouth and don't even taste it or anything. It's just all at once.
All right, so that just happened. I totally get that. It's just like, here it all is real fast.
Yeah.
There's no build up. There's almost no mystery to this.
Yeah.
If you watch the episode closely, you can tell who has the virus. Like, they try to lead you with Mulder.
Yeah.
And then you kind of think maybe it's Man Doctor. I just keep calling him Man Doctor.
Man Doctor.
Man Doctor, because he's kind of a prick. But once Chargers fan is dead, you immediately know that it's Lady Doctor.
Yeah.
And so, there wasn't they weren't big on the mystery.
Yeah.
It was like they touched all the subjects but didn't dive into them to make you feel anything. Mm-hmm. But yeah, either way, I still think it's a great episode.
I'll still watch it. The way you were talking is like, I don't want to watch this. I don't want to watch X-Files no more. No, I mean,
it's one of my favorite episodes. I mean, that will probably change over the course of breaking down this franchise.
Technically, the last couple of reviews, all I've said is, this is my favorite. This is the best episode in the world.
This is the best one to show people if they're just getting in.
Yeah.
And they're all Monster of the Week episodes. All 8 of them.
Yeah. Monsters.
This is
8.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well,
Yep.
Do you got anything else you want to talk about?
Nope, I think we're good. Watch it. It's great.
All right. Well, that's the thing. Ice.
Ice.
Damn it! I didn't even do it on purpose that time. Ice.